How are you doing? I owe you an explanation. I disappeared for like 2 weeks. Um, Tech issues and travel, and basically, it was just not easy to make videos over the last couple of weeks. So I'm sorry for leaving you hanging if you've been watching so straight up. Thank you for finding me again and coming back. If this is the first time you've watched any videos, I am Lucy. I am a mother to a 15-month-year-old, and this is all about trying to connect in with creativity as a way to heal during the postpartum journey, but also as a way to heal our own creativity and give us space to be creative and look after ourselves as mothers because we need that. And we are on week 5 and we are going through the artist way. So you might already be on week 5. If you were following along, you would have been on week 5 2 weeks ago. So I'm super sorry this is late, but we are on week 5 right now. It's where I am. And it's all about recovering a sense of possibility. So I'm going through Julia Cameron's The Artist Way and seeing how I can apply it to what is going on in my life, in my motherhood journey, and where I am with creativity as I'm trying to get back a creative practice. Now my son is a little bit older and I maybe have a bit of space. And this week, it is just big because she talks about this thing called the virtue trap, which I genuinely think is where most mothers probably will be. So if you are a mother in any way, shape, or form, there is probably a point at which you feel like you are putting other people's needs over your needs, and that possibly could be the job of your role. Like that is kind of what mothering is, or it can feel like that's what mothering is. And this week, she talks about this idea of the virtue trap, which essentially is that I cannot be selfish. I need to put other people's needs, other people's things for other people in front of myself. And she basically explains that an artist must have downtime, time to do nothing. Defending our right to such time takes courage, conviction, and resilience. Such time, space, and quiet will strike our family and friends as we withdraw from them. And it is. And I think that's a really interesting concept because, that feels big. The idea of going, hey, actually, no, I'm going to pull myself out of this family that I'm kind of the center of in many ways. And I'm going to look after my inner artist, my inner child, dare I say, in many cases, and I look after myself and my needs. And it can feel very difficult to make time and space for that. And she talks about a lot of artists getting into this virtue trap. And I think if you are a mother and have a family, that I would be very surprised if you're not somewhere in this virtue trap at some point. And maybe you're not. And if you're not, please can you comment and tell us your secrets? Please, 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 how are you doing it? Because it's super hard to feel like you have permission to do things for yourself some of the time, especially if it contradicts what you think are the needs of your family in some way, or your children. And she talks about doing favors for people, being available for people, all of this stuff. But there's a line, and I'm going to try and find it because it's great, where she essentially says, we strive to be good, to be nice, to be helpful, to be unselfish. We want to be generous, of service, of the world. But really, what we want is to be left alone. When we can't get others to leave us alone, we eventually abandon ourselves. To others, it may look like we're there, we may act like we're there, but our true self has gone to ground. Afraid to appear selfish, we lose ourselves. And then she talks about how that can turn into self-destruction and essentially just not being able to say no to people or set up boundaries. And this is something that we've come across in previous chapters. But I think it's a really important topic. And basically for me, this week is going to be all around exploring my relationship with the virtue trap and how I give myself space as a creative to actually do something, and what time and space does that look like, and how do I put those boundaries around what I can hold for me and what I can give to others. And she has a really useful couple of exercises which I'm going to share now because this is the core of what I'm doing this week. So here we go. One quick way to ascertain the degree of drift is to ask yourself, these questions. What would I try if it weren't too crazy? And then what would I do if it weren't too selfish? So then once you've answered those two questions, there are these 10 journal prompts. The biggest lack in my life is, the greatest joy in my life is, my largest time commitment is, as I play more, I work, as I feel guilty that I am. I worry that if my dreams come true, my family will. I sabotage myself so people will. If I let myself feel it, I'm angry that. One reason I get sad sometimes is. And hopefully through doing that, we get some answers on where we are getting stuck and how we see what we can do or are able to do. And then she asks you to write a forbidden joys list, which is 10 things you would love to do but are not allowed to do. And her example is go dancing, carry a sketchbook, roller skate, buy new cowboy boots, streak your hair blonde, go on vacation, take flying lessons, move to a bigger place, direct a play, take a life drawing class. So, whatever it is, writing that list and then doing a wish list exercise where we just write out as quickly as possible as many wishes as we have. I wish blah, I wish blah, and keep going and keep going and keep going as long as we can to see what comes out. So, those are the exercises I'm going to try this week. And I think just getting in us to a sense of trying to create that little bit of creative time for myself. These last few weeks, there has been no time for that. And it's really interesting to find a way to come back to it again. And I would love to hear how you're doing on your journey and whether you've kind of gone off piste and are coming back like me, or whether it's going really well and you're in momentum and building it, or if you're just getting started out. I've shared all of the weeks of kind of projects or exercises that I've been doing up to this point. And I think slowly, little by little, I'm creating a little bit more space for creativity in my life and finding that it is bringing up a lot of these topics that I need to grapple with as a mother now to kind of re-pull these pieces of myself together. So I'm excited about this week, a little bit anxious, but we'll see. Also, I have some childcare cover because my family are visiting, so I maybe get a little bit more babysitting time, and I'm hopefully going to use some of that to dive into this. So I will let you know how it goes. Fingers crossed, I will figure out my tech issues, and I will share some of more of a vlog style of how my creative journey and artist dates have been going. And I will speak to you soon, but I hope you have a great week creating. Thank you for joining me. And yeah, let's dive into this virtue trap stuff.